Hi friends, welcome to Amy Bakes. I'm Amy, and today we're not going to be baking, but we're going to be making chocolate syrup. So here's the list of ingredients of what we're going to need today. We're going to need sugar, water, cocoa powder, vanilla, and a dash of salt. Now, you can use something called sunflower lecithin, and what this is a thickening agent. You don't necessarily need this. It just makes it a little more like a syrup and a little less watery. If you don't have this, I wouldn't necessarily run right out and buy it just for this recipe. You could also use xanthan gum if you had that. That's a little bit more readily available at Walmart than the sunflower lecithin. But again, not necessary, just if you want that. For the supplies, you're gonna want a 3 to 4 quart saucepan. And the reason why you want one this large is because this is going to expand as it cooks. You're going to need a whisk. You're going to need a 3/4 cup measuring cup, a teaspoon. If you are using a thickener, you're gonna want 1/8 of a teaspoon measure, and then you're going to want something to put your finished product in. I'm just repurposing an old chocolate syrup bottle that we had. You can use something like this. You can use a mason jar with a pour lid, or you can just put it in a Tupperware dish and spoon it out. So I'm going to put my hair up, wash my hands, and let's get cooking. Okay, now we're gonna mix all of our ingredients. We're using 1 1/4 cup of water, 1 1/2 cup of sugar, and we're going to use 3/4 a cup of cocoa. And a little hint, since you're using 1 1/2 cups of sugar and 3/4 cups of cocoa, a little dish saving tip, you can use your 3/4 cup measure. Just be sure to measure your sugar first because it's going to leave a residue if you do cocoa first. We are going to set your stove onto a medium. My stove heats very, very slowly, so I'm starting mine on high actually, and then I'll drop it down to medium. Then you're going to add a pinch or two of salt. We're going to let this get warmed up and then come to a boil, and you're just going to continually stir it and mix it in. You want to use also a nylon whisk on your pan because any metal is going to scratch your pan. Even if it says it's okay to use it, always use nylon because you will eventually, over time, end up scratching your pans if you use metal. And if you just consistently use nylon, you'll actually get a better lifespan out of your pans and they'll last longer. So we're just going to get this heated up, and I'm going to go ahead, since I am using the sunflower lecithin, I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. So I got my 1/8 of a teaspoon, and I don't quite feel it. I do a little more than half of it. There's no exact measurement on that. The sunflower lecithin does not change the flavor, so that's kind of nice. But you're going to whisk that all in while it's heating up. And just keep stirring it and while it's heating until it's completely mixed in. Okay, I've been whisking this in and letting the temperature rise. I did drop my temperature on my stove down from high. Brought that down to about a medium high. My stove does not cook very hot. It doesn't hold the temperature very well. So you just need to make those adjustments on your stove. Start with a medium, and then if you need to raise it up, go ahead and raise it up a little bit. So once that gets boiling, you can see that starting to boil. We're gonna boil that for about 2 minutes, and I just occasionally whisk it. You don't necessarily have to, but to me, I don't know. I'm just kind of obsessive about that. So we're gonna let that boil for about 2 minutes. And while that's going, I'm gonna talk about the cost of this. Using organic ingredients, this is running about $2.10 for 24 ounces. Hershey's syrup has gone up. It used to be a couple dollars for a bottle, and we get the Simply 5. And that has gone up to over $4 for a bottle. So this is about half the cost of Hershey's syrup, or the Simply 5 syrup. The one I got at Whole Foods was $8 for a 22-ounce bottle. So it's considerably much less than that. So that's a great savings. And I actually encourage you to make this up. And if you have any Hershey's syrup, compare them. Just the smell. You will be amazed at the difference. You can actually smell the chemicals in the Hershey's syrup when you do this. When you do the side-by-side comparison, just smelling them, it's really amazing the difference. So we got just a little less than a minute, and we're going to let that boil, and you see it's going to be kind of expanding. That's why you want to use that larger saucepan. And the next thing we're going to do after this boils down is we're going to add the vanilla. You don't want to add the vanilla while it is still boiling, because vanilla has alcohol in it and the alcohol evaporates. And what that's going to do is it will weaken the taste of your vanilla, or just completely altogether you won't taste it at all because it will evaporate out. So you always want to add vanilla after you have pulled your syrup off the heat. Just a few more seconds. Grab a hot pad to set that on. There we go. I'm going to turn the heat off. Stir that down, and I'm going to move this over to a hot pad. Okay, now we've got that off the heat. I've kind of stirred it down a little bit, and we're going to add the vanilla. Typically a teaspoon of vanilla, but vanilla is one of those things that I believe you just measure with your soul. So if you want to measure it, great. If not, that's about a teaspoon's worth right there. Just kind of eyeball it and let your heart be your guide. Now stir this in really good. It smells amazing. I promise you, Hershey's syrup is not going to smell like this. So we're going to let that cool just a little bit, and then we are going to put it in our bottle. Okay, so this is cooled. I'm going to use a funnel to help get in the bottle so I don't spill it. Now, this is a 22-ounce bottle, and this makes about 24 ounces. So we're going to more than fill this bottle. So what I'm going to do is fill it straight up to the top. And then there will be just enough left over for one of the kids to have some chocolate milk. And as this cools, this will thicken to be more syrupy and a little less watery. Almost. Oh, there we go. There you go. Just take this off and put the lid on. And that right there is how you make your very own chocolate syrup for about half the price of Hershey 5.